Thank you so much for joining us. We won't have time to play it, but I just watched it before I went live on this Sunday edition. It is the 21st day of September 2014. It's not our top story, but it's pretty interesting. Video, The Singularity, featuring Ray Kurzweil and Alex Jones. It's a pretty hilarious comedy piece put out, and RT aired it. Just to let you know that's up there, because it happened to remind me of it when I saw it being posted to Infowars.com. But I just told Kit Daniels, who's in here working on Sunday, to post it, and I saw it go live. So if my voice sounds like it's blown out more than usual, I spoke at Casey Research last night down in San Antonio, down at the Hyatt, to a packed hall of mining executives, manufacturing executives, you name it, the people that actually employ Americans. And they were executives from all over the world. They're meeting to discuss how to survive during an economic implosion, not just here, but on a planetary scale. And the intel from all of these men and women that I was talking to is that it's not a question of if, but when. And perhaps tomorrow, when my voice is back during the 3-hour radio show, I will break down some of the intel I learned there. I gave an hour-long speech. I did start screaming a little bit, something that the executives weren't really used to, but they told me they liked it. So that happened. I am a little bit tired, but folks know that I'll get my second wind here in just a moment. Where to start? Just incredible speech on the Senate floor Friday by Senator Rand Paul. Here's the headline from Infowars.com with the video. 600 tons of weapons given to Syrian rebels last year made ISIS stronger. That's like saying that a bear crapped in the woods. We gave 600 tons of weapons to Syrian rebels in 2013 alone, Paul says. We gave. And that's what is upsetting the system, is that they want to just arm al-Qaeda, change the name to confuse us, and have everybody just go along with it. But General Dempsey said that our allies are arming ISIS last week in hearings last Monday. And now Senator Rand Paul's talking about it. If this issue ever fully gets out there, the American people, it could bring down the entire system, which is good, because the system is designed to basically implode the economy, implode the country. And it's designed to create a controlled implosion through which they get full power. So we need to implode their implosion. We need to preempt that to save the republic. So we've got that stack of news coming up and a very powerful report. We were able to find the entire al-Qaeda cross swords hour-long jihadi video that I haven't seen posted anywhere else. Former Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs, who's fought these people repeatedly in 2 different countries, did a special report on that we're going to be airing, and that integrates him with Rand Paul's speech. It's a 45-minute speech. We're going to air the first 6 minutes or so of it coming up in the next segment. Extremely powerful, as I said. And I am going to air a lot of reports today because my voice is just gone. I make it a little bit better here in a moment. In fact, I'm not just plugging. I just remembered. Wait, Lung Cleanse helps me. I don't see my Lung Cleanse. My Lung Cleanse is over there on my counter. Somebody give him the Lung Cleanse before I forget. Thank you. Appreciate that. Or I guess I can just get up during the 1-minute break and get it. Thank you. So that I can maybe come back and have my voice on the other side. Thank you so much, Nico. So we have that information coming up today. Rand Paul blisters Obama and Clinton, calls for GOP diversity. Really big report here. ISIS drives Texas-made Toyota trucks, apparently modified for U.S. Special Forces. Obama faces heat over prospect of expanded war. CIA's anti-Syria program finances Wahhabist head choppers. They've got a huge explosions happening in Ukraine.
This is Leanne McAdoo for InfoWarsLife.com. I'm here with Dr. Edward Group, Master Herbologist and Chief Formulator behind the InfoWars Life products. Dr. Group, what have you been hearing from women who've started taking Super Female Vitality?
You know, we've heard the reviews and feedback from Super Male Vitality, from emails to even excited callers on the radio. Now, the answer for women is here. A new formulation specifically designed for the female body, Super Female Vitality, delivers 10 key herbs that work synergistically to revitalize the unique biology of women.
I'm so glad that you guys made this for women. When he brought me home the bottle of Super Female, I had tons of energy, tons of motivation, a lot of drive. My husband thinks I've been in a better mood. Our relationship, all I can say is it's a lot better now.
I've just started taking Super Female Vitality from InfoWarsLife.com. Supplies are limited, so secure yours today at InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or dial 1-888-253-3139.
Thank you all for your support and your prayers. I, again, am your host, Alex Jones. Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com are just two of our big news websites. Thank you again for joining us and following us on Twitter at @RealAlexJones. Our Twitter followers are real. They came to me about 6 months ago and they said, we can buy 1 million Twitter followers for like $5,000. And I said, no, I don't want 1 million Twitter followers. I want real ones. And I'm not knocking my social media crew. It's just that's what people do. 90-something% of the White House Twitter followers are fake. Most of Piers Morgan's are fake. I guess for his $3 million, he must have paid $15,000 or something. I mean, I don't know that, even though they've had news articles that have scanned the White House one and others and shown the vast majority, 9 out of 10 or more, are fake. No, I don't want fake Twitter followers. You know, Matt Drudge doesn't want them. He's got 500,000 on one and 300,000 on another. I've got 300,000 on mine. I've got real Facebook people of about 3 million because I got into that early. I came to Twitter late. But no, I mean, I want real Twitter followers at Real Alex Jones. I don't want to send tweets out to fake stuff. It's kind of like people that play Second Life. And that's what they're into, and they want to own a Lamborghini, imaginary Lamborghini. They want to have the supermodel girlfriend that's imaginary. Well, I don't really want a Lamborghini or a supermodel girlfriend. What I want is liberty and freedom, and to have a country and a world my children can grow up in. And the Common Core universe of 2 + 2 = 5 is the equivalent of a Second Life, Fantasyland, Matrix presidency, and I ain't buying into it. That's what this comes down to. I want the real thing. Speaking of the real thing in Fantasyland, colliding, total BS colliding with the cold, hard truth, Rand Paul came out Friday in a powerful 40-plus minute speech that's up on Infowars.com right now, and he said that 600 tons of weapons given to Syrian rebels last year made ISIS stronger. That's 2 + 2 = 4. And it's also on the news being reported that ISIS drives Texas-made Toyota trucks made for U.S. Special Forces. Yeah, they haven't seized weapons caches. They've been given these. Video, ISIS terrorists openly commute on subway in Istanbul, Turkey. Turkey's openly giving them artillery support to invade the country. They're allowed to just ride around with their weapons on the bus terminals, but no one else can. You can't have guns in Turkey unless you're Al-Qaeda. Then you're totally left alone. So we've got that. Meanwhile, Obama faces heat over prospect of expanded war. The left doesn't want him to attack Al-Qaeda. Well, don't worry. He's not. General Boykin, former head of Army Special Forces, said it's a fake operation last week in World Daily. They're blowing up a few trucks. They're not killing anybody. They're not fighting Al-Qaeda. Saudi Arabia runs it. Our government armed them. They've turned them loose all over the Middle East and Africa. That's what's happening. And because Rand Paul and InfoWars and others exposed it, and Ted Cruz and others, they're being forced now to act like they're fighting Al-Qaeda. And then they can even let Al-Qaeda attack us again, and then they'll just take more of our freedoms and grandstand. That's what we've decided to be, is a nation of pure lies and fraud. I love America, but let's admit what we've become. Let's admit what a joke this is. Now, let's go to about 6 minutes of the speech from the start with Senator Rand Paul breaking it down, pointing out the reality. The reality. How dumb do they think we are that they openly fund and run this group? And now even General Dempsey last week admitted this in Senate testimony to the Armed Services Committee, and Lindsey Graham got hopping mad because the facade is collapsing. The smokescreen is clearing. Here is Senator and hopefully President Rand Paul.
Madam President.
Senator from Kentucky.
If there is a theme that connects the dots in the Middle East, it is that chaos breeds terrorism. What much of the foreign policy elite fail to grasp, though, is that intervention to topple secular dictators has been the prime source of the chaos.
Oh, they know
From
that.
Hussein
They did it.
to Assad to Gaddafi, it's the same history.
Obama administration blocking information from the press, AP is saying. Also, it doesn't just happen here in the U.S., because this has happened in the U.S. as well. In Australia, government snitch has sex with 60 prostitutes at taxpayer expense and gets paid to do it. And they use the info to blackmail city council members. Oh, my goodness. That's out of the Sydney Morning Herald. So some of that's coming up. Really serious issue. Military plant in East Ukraine devastated by massive explosion. Kiev, that's the capital of Ukraine, accuses Russia of using tactical nuclear weapon. See the photos and videos. It is a huge mushroom cloud on Infowars.com in this Zero Hedge story. But I don't think it's a nuke. I mean, when the West Texas fertilizer plant blew up, it looked like a nuke went off. It didn't mean the Russians nuked us. No, they saw the Russians fire, or Russian separatists, 3 missiles into it. And then it was a weapons plant full of explosives, so it blew up. That's coming up on that front. Joe Biggs is a former staff sergeant in the Army, highly decorated. He works here as a reporter. He filed this report on the new ISIS video, Flames of War, that they put out to recruit. And jihadis are just flooding there now with the tens of thousands per month. There's an estimated 200,000 jihadis there. They think 50,000 of them or so are ISIS. But, I mean, it's all just to confuse the public. They're Wahhabists out of Saudi Arabia. Don't tread on me. Love it or leave it. Well, now, more and more, they're saying, don't show the American flag anywhere because it's politically incorrect. And people say, well, that's over the top. That makes no sense. That's the point. Training you that if Obama says so, that, well, Obamacare lowered your premiums and doesn't have death panels and isn't an income tax, even though the Supreme Court has ruled it is. These are the type of games they play. In fact, here's a headline, USA Today. I'm going to cover this coming up in the next segment. Tax refunds will be cut for American Care recipients. That's right. And they're going to then pull money out of your bank account if you don't go get the Obamacare. It's in the bill. We know what it does. And their denials show just how criminal these people are that are running the system now. And I mentioned political correctness. Look at this headline from Breitbart. College student forced to remove American flag from balcony could offend foreign people. Apartment managers said foreigners could find the display offensive. Remember 2 weeks ago when they wouldn't let firefighters in Chicago and they suspended them have American flags on their lockers, but people could put pinup girls up there. That was okay. Just don't have American flags. It's about telling you you have no rights and that any of your views that the establishment doesn't agree with are offensive. Political correctness is tyranny 101. We're going to break that down. Also, coming up, quarantine and martial law. We have operational documents that are public that those, quote, afflicted will be incarcerated and isolated against their will. And now they've been telling hospitals the last 2 weeks, get ready for Ebola here in America. I don't know if that's happening, but here's another headline. Ebola warning. CDC tells airlines to treat all bodily fluids as infectious. PrisonPlanet.tv is the website. You can go there and subscribe. It's $5.95 a month. 11 people can use the same membership, the same passcode. So share it with your friends and family. If you are a member, it is so essential to get your friends and family watching the nightly news. If you have not become a member, hey, all my films in HD, 19 years of material up on the site. The site's 14 years old, but we've got stuff that predates it on there. E-books, other documentaries. It's so important to subscribe and support the tip of the spear when it comes to promoting liberty and the First Amendment, to vote with your dollars. So I want to thank all the members of PrisonPlanet.tv and all the supporters of Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com and everything we do here. But now, you're stuck with me here, ladies and gentlemen, this evening here in the last few segments, the last 3 segments, the last 45 minutes of this worldwide broadcast. And then I'll be back tomorrow. Lord willing, we don't take anything for granted. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, with the weekday transmission. First, let me tell you some of the news that is coming up. And then I want to get to the situation with 2 different people in the last 4 days scaling the fence at the White House, one of them making it through the front door, another, an Army veteran, making it over the fence. And this is really illustrating what a paper tiger the establishment is and how they're in absolute abject panic and fear right now, evacuating the White House over 2 people scaling the walls. So I'm going to try to cover that from a bunch of different angles here in just a moment. And then I'm going to get into this report, Obama administration blocking information from the press. And that's a big deal because the Associated Press is now complaining, and that's the establishment. And you see an exodus as socialists and collectivists wanting to get their agenda across and completed, now abandon their Lord and Savior, as Jamie Foxx called him, Barack Hussein Obama. Then Australia, but this also happened, remember seeing this happen in Chicago and in Honolulu a few years ago, you can look it up, where the cops and the snitches, poor things, in some cases have sex with as many as 60 prostitutes in 1 year on their 12-hour shifts as part of then busting the Johns that go and use the services. Look, I'm a libertarian, folks. It's time to decriminalize all this because all you do is let the government get involved and make it that much more seedy and corrupt. It's just ridiculous. But Australia, snitch has sex with 60 prostitutes at taxpayer expense. Approximately 10 Sydney councils have called on his services. Yeah, then they use it to blackmail the city council people and others that are using the hookers. And from what I've read in these reports, most of the time they don't even know it's a hooker, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is all about blackmail. The NSA, they've got similar systems in Europe. How do you stop this? You decriminalize it all, and you stop getting in people's business. And then you go after the private Federal Reserve that engineered over $1,000 trillion of fake derivatives that we've all been signed on to. That's a crime. Our government funding Al-Qaeda and ISIS, that's a crime. Not people visiting prostitutes, regardless of what you or I or anybody else may think of it. And they use the fake Pharisee morality to just create whole new reasons to blackmail and control populations. That's what all of this is about. It's what it's always been about. You've got our government funding Al-Qaeda, known as ISIS, to chop heads off all over the world and destabilize, as we proved in the first half hour of the last hour. And you've got the government shipping in narcotics. You've got all of it. It's like drugs. I don't agree with drugs. I don't agree with the drug culture. I'm well known for criticizing it, but I am for decriminalization, because it only lets the government become corrupt. It's like prohibition. They made alcohol illegal. Look it up. Alcohol use in that 10-year period tripled. And guess what else tripled? The mafia exploded in size. The police became corrupt. And then when that got done with, they went, oh, let's have drug prohibition now. And then nobody was really using hard drugs then. You could buy them at the drugstore. Drug use was much lower statistically. And so what did they do? The government, the agency, started pushing it. Oh, yeah, it was narcotics detectives in New Jersey and New York and other areas of the country, look it up, who began to push hard drugs on the street. There wasn't a market, ladies and gentlemen. People weren't using it. It's so sick. It's also government agencies can have a business on the side and corrupt police departments And the lawyers and the rest of it can have a different... I'm telling you, that's what gay marriage is all about. I don't get in people's business what they're doing in their bedroom. But I'm telling you, folks, this whole gay marriage thing's being pushed by the lawyers because they want to be able to start getting everybody getting married so they can get to cut all that money. I'm telling you, that's what's going on here. And it makes me want to throw up. So I guess I've already kind of covered this story. But I remember reading, they tried to pass a state law 2 years ago in Hawaii where cops could have sex with the prostitutes because they were getting caught doing it. And they tried to say they had to do it as part of investigations. Do you know what that is when you make UN officials and other people above the law, or feds think they're above the law and try to pass laws to do it, or Congress passes laws to be above the law on insider trading and stuff like that, which they've done? I mean, how corrupt is that? Just type into a search engine, Congress makes themselves exempt from insider trading, CBS News 4 years ago. It's called titles of nobility, and it's illegal inside the United States. It's in the Constitution that no titles of nobility can be conferred. Of course, we got a lot of politicians that get knighted, don't they? And they get money and they get houses and they get things in England. Colin Powell and others, it's disgusting. But modern titles of nobility are the police and others being above the law and being exempt. In California, over 1 million state workers, including police, local or considered state as well, are exempt from the red light cameras and the license plate scanners so that their names aren't in the database so folks can't stalk them. Hey, how about my name shouldn't be in a database so I can't get stalked? How about I get to have a little privacy too? You guys want to have a big police state where we all live in glass houses, but you don't want to live in a glass house. See, they want us all debating black, white, Hispanic, Asian, racism, Christian, Muslim, Jew, infighting, atheist, infighting. How about we all just agree that we all live by the same laws and the same rules, and we promote a culture of liberty? How about that? How about that? We're going to go to break, come back with the Secret Service news, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to get into what's happening at the White House and how this is a microcosm of the fear that is in the tottering state. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.